We got a couple cool things tonight, but what we really got was the indicator that the next 3 or 4 weeks is going to be fucking fantastic. Let's talk about NXT. What's going on, everybody? It's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check, here with your September 26th NXT review. Gonna get the house cleaning out of the way first, as we always do. Please check out the annotation up in the box up above. You'll see a playlist for the other NXT reviews. You'll see a playlist for my current and ongoing coverage of the Mae Young Classic. A little bit of 205 Live stuff here and there. The Off the Cuff series, which is basically every other thing I want to talk about that's not one of those. The Q&A is there. Go toss your questions on the last Q&A if you want them to be read in the next Q&A. A couple movie reviews on there. Gonna be beefing that up in the next little while, hopefully, but it's kind of on the back burner as opposed to other stuff. Please stay tuned at the end of this video for those of you that have been listening to my updates on the Destiny Wrestling pay-per-view that's coming up in November. There's a couple more updates about that as well. NXT tonight starts off with something we don't usually like to see in NXT. We usually give NXT the benefit of the doubt that they don't usually start with big, long talking segments. Sorry, glasses are doing a thing. Excuse me. We usually give NXT credit for going right into a match, even if it's just a squash match to get the night started. We usually give them credit that it doesn't just start with a talking segment. This one does. This one starts with William Regal, and he's out there to talk about the ongoing Aleister Black investigation. You guys know what I think about that, but he doesn't get to say anything, really, because he's cut off by the Undisputed Era. And Adam Cole comes in and he dumps a lot of stuff on him sort of all at once. He tells him he's not Sherlock Holmes, he should get back to his real job. When are you going to punish the War Raiders for attacking us? Where is Aleister Black? No one misses him. You should be reprimanding Ricochet for ducking me and not giving me a chance at my title. I was the first ever North American champion. I should be getting the title shot. He's been ducking me. Pete Dunne got a shot last week and I want mine. William Regal calls his bluff, says, you never asked me for a match, you sat back quite happily to let Pete Dunne soften him up for you, and you know, you ruined a perfectly good match last week, you and your boys, so you're not going to get a shot right away, but what you will get in 2 weeks is Dunne and Ricochet in a triple threat match, and there's your rematch, and 3 weeks from now, your boys are going to have to defend your tag team titles against the War Raiders. So there's a nice 1-2 punch to get us going. We go to the back where Johnny Gargano is being interviewed in the parking lot. He talks a lot, and I'm sorry to say this because Gargano's great, but it is really repetitive at this point. You know, he's going through a struggle, he's letting the fans down, he feels bad, rah-de-rah-de-rah. The upside of this is he's going to be facing Tony Nese next week, which is interesting, considering Tony Nese is part of 205 Live, but whatever the case may be. And then he meets up with Candice, they're leaving the arena, and Lacey Evans talks some shit, and Johnny Gargano says, don't worry about it, she's not worth your time, which is true, because it's Lacey Evans and women's right, and fuck that shit too. Lacey Evans sort of walks off, she does like the whole talk to the hand thing and walks away, and she's relatively useless. Johnny's she's not worth your time comment is more true than it has any right to be. Lars Sullivan, taking on a jobber, whose name I didn't catch, squashes him. Well, I shouldn't say he squashes him because the match doesn't really end, but he is beating the ever-loving tar out of the guy when EC3 jumps in from the crowd, gets the upper hand on Lars Sullivan to the point where he knocks him right out of the ring to loud NX3 chants. We find out later on in the night that indeed EC3 is going to be facing Lars Sullivan next week, which is a lot of fun. Nikki Cross is hanging out in William Regal's office. William Regal finds this out because as he's coming back to his office, she's knocking on the door and letting herself out of it. She's in another one of the, you know, the crazy tirade rant type things. You know, I want to play, I need to play, I want to play with Bianca again, you need to give me a rematch. William Regal says he'd taken under advisement. And then he turns to the person holding the camera and said, you know what, she'd tell you where Bigfoot or the Loch Ness Monster is. Nobody quite knows what's going on in her head. Which is fucking wonderful. You know what else is fucking wonderful? For me, for somebody that never gave TM61 the light of day, I actually look forward to their matches on NXT recently, and especially their matches with the Street Profits. Now, they come out in the Street Profits jewelry, and I like... Typically, it's just a gimmick, it's just a prop, whatever. I do like that the Street Profits had that promo last week explaining what the chains meant to them. You know, they were the first thing that they bought when they got their first big wrestling paycheck. So it's like a symbol of their success, a symbol of their journey, etc. So it took something that wouldn't be very meaningful most of the time. You know, I'm just going to come and bling it out, and actually gave it some meaning, which is nice. So the Mighty came out with the jewelry on and with the black solo cup for reasons. Dawkins hits a one-punch knockout on Thorne, who's wearing the jewelry to start the match. Dawkins and Miller trade punches, and there's a corner beatdown. High knee by Miller, and the Mighty crack heads together while they're trying to attack Dawkins. Double bulldog by Dawkins and a dive by Ford. The dive by Ford to the outside is fucking insane. Montez Ford, and this is going to be a funny thing for me to say because I'm going to talk about Lio Rush. The way Montez Ford is within the context of his tag team reminds me of how Lio Rush is in general. I just watched 205 Live tonight. I'm not going to be reviewing it. Don't worry about it. But he took on Noam Dar, and he's fast as fuck. And especially when you got Lio Rush in that manager role with Bobby Lashley on Raw, it's just a very, very stark contrast. And this very, very similar thing is with Montez Ford and Dawkins here, but he really plays up to that role. Like, I'm the small guy, I'm the fast guy, I'm the daredevil guy, I'm the Jeff Hardy of the team, if you want to go by that. But the dive on the outside is fucking spectacular. Miller eats the steps on the outside, body blows by Dawkins. Lost my train of thought and lost my place because my writing sucks. Boot by Thorne, Hangman by Dawkins, dropkick by Thorne, double team by the Mighty, front face lock by Miller, mudhole by Thorne, series of lariats by Thor, just one after another after another after another, which is great, followed up with a back elbow. Thorne traps Ford's leg in the steps, and this is where it all gets to be pretty fucking dirty, because it's a low dropkick into those steps, working on Ford's leg. And I believe one of the commentators even mentioned that Ford, being the smaller guy, has the more susceptible limb to be locked into a thing like that, implying that Dawkins, who's the much thicker, fuller, bigger guy, may have a little bit more built-in cushioning in that leg to sustain a particular maneuver like that. But from there, Miller works the leg, Thorne works the leg, there's a double leg sweep by the Mighty, a figure four leg lock by Miller, a chop block by Miller, a double clothesline spot between Ford and Thorne, figure four pinning combination on Ford by Thorne, gets the win for the Mighty. So everything leading up to it was great. A lot of cool spots, a lot of very evenly matched. You know, if these guys are going to be the undercard tag team rivalry, you want to play them up as being very even. You have one particular devious spot in the match, and the entire rest of the story in this match, including the way they got the pinfall, was all about Montez Ford's leg, and he sold it like a fucking dream. The Mighty have, like I say, have done a 180 in my opinion, from the TM61, the flashy guys with the sports hoodies or whatever the hell those were, etc., to these guys who are just killing it in this heel role. It's fucking great. They've turned themselves into a team that I look forward to seeing, rather than well, let's be real for a second. When they used to wrestle, I used to put them on the same level as Jobberelli and Gimmick Lost. I used to call them TM Nobody Gives a Fuck. Well, now I give a fuck. Congratulations. I still think the Street Profits are a much more entertaining team, but I do like that, you know, all the pomp and circumstance and the jumping around and the partying of the Street Profits was completely nixed out in this match to show the seriousness of their offense, which was also cool, which was something I should have mentioned at the beginning, but I didn't, because it's late in the day and I'm kind of tired. Kairi Sane versus Vanessa Bourne. No. Still have yet to be really, really impressed by Vanessa Bourne, but Kairi Sane comes out, she does the pirate gimmick, obviously. Vanessa Bourne wears the hat, stomps the hat, kicks the hat out of the ring. Yay, I guess that's some really, really cheap, it's the NXT equivalent of cheap heat, isn't it? There's a shoving match, there's some strikes, dragon screw, a really, really wicked looking dragon screw by Kairi Sane, axe kick by Sane, a boot and a slam by Thorne, mudhole stomp by Bourne, puts her in a cravat. I will say, because Kairi Sane's so small, putting her in something like a cravat literally does make her look like she's going to have her neck snapped. But speaking of snaps, she gets out of it with a snapmare. Haha, you can't write these jokes. I'm tired, guys. Leaping DDT by Sane in a series of double chops, interceptor forearm, insane elbow, Sane gets the win. BASZLER comes out mocking her as usual, says, look, you beat me for my title at the last takeover. I'm not going to take out all the frustration that caused on you tonight, but what I will say is, celebrate while you can. You won in Brooklyn, but I'm invoking my rematch clause. KAIRI SANE accepts if it can take place at Evolution, and then she finishes it off with, at Evolution, I'm going to beat you again. So, along with Mickie James and Lita, along with Trish Stratus and Alexa Bliss, suck it haters, along with the finals of the Mae Young Classic, which I'm going to be covering shortly, we are now getting KAIRI SANE and SHAYNA BASZLER for the NXT Women's Championship at Evolution, which is all good. Tommaso Ciampa versus Otis Dozovic was a match. When I heard about it, and when they announced it for this week, I was like, okay, Otis is going to go in there, he's going to have a plucky little showing of himself, and that's going to be about it. Tommaso Ciampa challenged him after the Heavy Machinery were implying him in the attack of Aleister Black, and it's like, okay, Tommaso Ciampa's going to go in there and do some evil shit, and Otis Dozovic is just the one that's going to have to take it this week. Sorry. What we got was a really, really, really good showing by Otis Dozovic. I mean, Ciampa's obviously the star in this scenario, but Otis Dozovic made a really good showing of himself, and it showed. Collar and elbow to having a boot and a headlock by Ciampa. Avalanche by Otis. Hard Irish whip to the outside by Otis. Back elbow by Ciampa and a slam by Otis. Forearms to the chest by Otis and a backdrop out of the ring. I will say, Tommaso Ciampa, even though he's the champ, even though, you know where this match is going to go, he still did sell for the big man, so props to him for that. Otis stands on the back, hits him with a snake eyes on the apron. Ciampa grabs him by the hair, beals him back of the head first into the steel rampway, and then hits a series of forearms to the back of the head. Running knee to the head, and then a neck breaker. Ciampa rides a sleeper and gets backdropped by Otis, because Otis is bigger, and that's just how that goes down. Bear paw strikes and a corner spear by Otis. For a big guy, for a short, stocky, big guy like Otis, he's got a really decent corner spear. I gotta say that much. Ciampa tries to bail up the rampway. Tucker blocks off the rampway. Corner splash and an overhead suplex by Otis. Elbow drop by Otis and a Batista bomb. But a suspension DDT on the apron and another suspension DDT in the ring get the win for Tommaso Ciampa. As I say, there was never any doubt that Otis was going to lose this match. You wouldn't have Otis Dozovic. As much as I like the guy, he's one half of a somewhat comedy tag team, which is not even at the top of the tag team division. You're not going to have him go over your main champion. As unfortunate as that is, but he went in and put a really good showing in this match, and I wouldn't, honestly, and I say this hand on heart, I wouldn't mind seeing this match again. If Ciampa wasn't the champion, and they were just two guys on the roster, I could believe Otis picking up a win. It would be a fluke win, and I'm pretty sure it would be presented as a fluke win, but I wouldn't mind seeing this match again. This was a good episode. A lot of storytelling. As I said at the beginning, there's a lot of setup for the next couple of weeks, because if you look at the next couple of weeks, guys, next week we got Gargano versus Nese, which will be interesting. Tony Nese being on 205 Live, as well as Lars Sullivan taking on EC3. 2 weeks from now, we get what I think is going to be the best of the whole damn thing, which is Cole versus Dunn versus Ricochet for the NXT North American Championship. 3 weeks from now, we've got Undisputed Era taking on the War Raiders, and however many weeks away at Evolution, we got KAIRI SANE, SHAYNA BASZLER 2 for the NXT Championship. There's not much else. I mean, you got kind of the broken Gargano thing, which is just starting to get a bit old, but the rest of it, you can't really ask for anything more. I mean, Nikki Cross could be the women's champion. Nikki Cross could have a nice shot at Evolution, but now I'm just fantasy booking. Anyways, that's all I got for now. I've been Spaz, your YWC reality check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation, keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later, but for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
Like me, don't apologize. They can hold you down. You were born to rise. It's our time now to come out.
What's going on, guys? I promise I won't take more than 1 or 2 minutes of your time. If you're looking for something different to watch, if you're looking for a new suggestion, Destiny Wrestling, the company that I've been talking about up here in Mississauga for a little bit now, they are having their very first iPay-per-view streaming live on Fight TV November 25th. I think they're really good. I have a lot of fun at their shows. You guys should check it out. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun watching their shows. Let me know what you think. Tell them Spaz sent you, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.